Good evening, everyone. And what a special evening it is, because this quartet has been specially formed just for this evening. And they consist of the 4 principal string players of the Czech Philharmonic Orchestra. So please give them a very warm welcome. And I believe that their boss is also here tonight, the CEO of the Czech Philharmonic Orchestra, David Mareček. He's standing there. Who has been invited by the Consul General of the Czech Republic, Klára Juchova, who is somewhere in the audience as well, yes? Who has also invited the director of the Milan Kundera Library in the Moravian Library, Professor Tomáš Kubíček. So with the Czech Philharmonic and the Czech Consul and Mr. Mareček and Professor Kubíček and music by Janeček, I think we're definitely checked all the boxes for an evening of Czech high culture tonight. So please join me in just welcoming the whole of the Czech Republic to the University of Hong Kong and to the Muse concert series. I'm Daniel Chua. I'm a professor of music here at the University of Hong Kong. And just in case you're wondering, I am not Czech. But it is alarming, if not a little bit scary, when a professor of music appears with the artists at a concert, because the nightmare is that the professor of music may give you a lecture before the concert. Well, tonight, your nightmare is about to come true. Yes, I am going to give you a lecture, but don't worry. Since this concert is about Milan Kundera's The Unbearable Lightness of Being, I promise to keep my lecture light. But it will also be unbearable. So here's the first interesting fact about Milan Kundera. He wanted to be like me. He wanted to be a professor of music. Actually, he wanted to be like his dad, who was a musicologist. But thankfully, he saw the light and didn't become a professor of music and became a writer instead. So that's bad news for musicology. But the good news is, at least all his writings are full of musicological insights. And his most famous novel, The Unbearable Lightness of Being, is deeply musicological. It is inspired by the last movement of the last quartet by Beethoven, Opus 135. And Opus 135 is Beethoven's last opus. It's his last completed work. So it is seemingly Beethoven's last statement to humanity. So it is portentous. And Kundera's The Unbearable Lightness of Being is a philosophical reflection on Beethoven's last words, as it were. And if you turn to your program notes on page 8, you will see these last words by Beethoven. Now, you will never hear them in a concert because they're literally words that are to be read. But you can notice below them, there's a little musical quotation, which you will also never hear at a concert because they're supposed to be seen in the score and not performed on stage. And the words are, der schwer gefasste Entschluss, the difficult decision or a difficult resolution. Muss es sein? Must it be? Es muss sein, es muss sein. It must be, it must be. Now, all this sounds very philosophical, as if Beethoven were grappling with the big questions of being and necessity. It must be. And it is also presented as a kind of existential crisis. It is a difficult decision. Der schwer gefasste Entschluss. As Kundera points out, the German word schwer does not only mean difficult, it literally means heavy. This is a heavy decision. The question, must it be, is weighed down with difficulty. So let's hear what we never hear at performances of this quartet, this little musical quotation that prefaces the movement. So the cello will be playing the question, must it be? Then the violin will play the answer, it must be, it must be. Now, notice that the question and answer are presented by Beethoven as polar opposites. The question is slow, marked grave, meaning solemn, heavy, serious. Hence it is written in the bass clef. It's a deep question. And it is also a difficult question because the three-note melody is composed of notes that are not in a key. You'll notice there's no key signature. These are awkward, difficult, atonal intervals. So there's a melody, you have no idea where you are. If you don't believe me, you can try singing the question. In fact, would you like to try to sing that question? Are you game for an audience challenge? Yeah? Shall we do it? All right, let's do it. Let's do this. You're going to sing this back. So you don't have to sing the words muss es sein, okay? All you have to sing is la, 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 okay? So the cello will play the three notes, and you will sing it back to me. Are you ready? Okay, so da, 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 and then la, la, la. Okay. That was terrible. So out of tune. You see, it's very difficult. It's a difficult question. Very difficult question. Now, the answer, Es muss sein, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. It's fast, marked allegro. It's in a key, it's an F major. It's in the treble clef rather than the bass clef. It's high rather than low, light rather than heavy. And the shape of the melody is the opposite shape of the question. So instead of going down, then up, it goes up, then down. It's a mirror image. And this difficult question is answered by a very easy answer. It's so easy, it's very easy to sing. Do you want to try it? Let's see whether you can sing this one. So the violin will go da da da, and you go la la la, and then they go da da da, la la la. Let's try this. See whether you can sing it in tune this time. Yes. That was better. But it's much easier. You see, it's easy. It's easy. So Beethoven presents us with a contrast, a heavy, difficult question and a light, easy answer. And these two things make up the entire movement. Now, inspired by Beethoven, Kundera's novel presents a similar contrast at the beginning based on the same existential themes of being and necessity. So here is the philosophical problem that Kundera poses at the start of his novel. We only live once. There are no retakes in the exam of life, no repeats. Each decision is always the only and final decision. We can't test it first and have a second run at it. And these decisions are difficult because we don't know beforehand if they're going to work out right or wrong. We have no idea whether they'll turn out to be good or bad. In fact, we don't even know how we make those decisions. Are they a matter of chance or are they determined by fate? Do we exercise freedom in these decisions or are we under necessity? Now, perhaps we could choose to take a heavy decision instead of a light one, or a light decision instead of a heavy one. But even then, we have no idea which one is positive and which one is negative. Is a heavy decision good or bad? Is a light decision good or bad? We have no idea. So, just like Beethoven's Es muss sein epigram at the beginning of his quartet, Kundera presents us with a contrast at the start of his novel. Freedom or necessity, chance or fate, light or heavy. And the characters in Kundera's novel live out these different possibilities. And they have no idea whether the light or heavy outcomes of their decisions are going to be positive or negative. In fact, for much of the novel, they all seem to be equally negative, unbearably light and unbearably heavy. So here's the question. Is Beethoven's final quartet heavy or light? Now, for Kundera, Beethoven is the heavyweight champion of fate. He calls the composer a lifter of metaphysical weights, a lifter of metaphysical weights. This is a gloomy Beethoven, says Kundera, who bears fate as a weighty duty. Kundera probably heard this heavy weightlifting in the opening section of the piece, and I think he envisaged it to be something like this. Okay. Yes, from the beginning. Yes. Must it be? So this heavy gloom is how Kundera hears Beethoven throughout the book. Even the answer, it must be, is described by Kundera as stern, aggressive, and solemn. Beethoven bears what is unbearably heavy. It must be. Now this is actually very odd, because Beethoven's answer in the quartet is not heavy at all. It is very light. It must be is actually playful and almost comical. Let's hear this from the Allegro. So in the quartet, the serious question has a bit of a silly answer. Is this a joke by Beethoven? Well, yes. The story behind the movement is a joke. Beethoven joked that he wanted his friend, Ignaz Demscher, to pay him 50 florins to compensate for missing the premiere of his latest quartet. And Demscher laughed, "Must it be?" And Beethoven replied by writing a little piece of music with these words: "It must be, yes, 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 out with your money, out with your money." So the story behind Beethoven's last quartet is not about metaphysics, it's about money physics. And for sure, Beethoven turned the joke into something more substantial, as Kundera notes. But Beethoven is clearly not just lifting metaphysical weights. He's lifting balloons, right? Easy balloons. The difficult resolution is light and easy. So why does Kundera insist that Beethoven's quartet bears all the heaviness of fate? Did Kundera get Beethoven all wrong? Did he misunderstand the quartet? Well, I think probably not. I think he hears correctly. But, as with all great writers, Kundera does not tell us directly. He does not give us a philosophical analysis of the answer he hears in Beethoven's last quartet. Rather, he demonstrates it in the novel itself. It is in the story rather than in an explanation. The unbearable lightness of being ends in the same way that Beethoven's last quartet ends. Towards the end of both the novel and the quartet, there is a dramatic point of crisis. All those decisions, whether light or heavy, lead to an unresolvable disaster. And there is no way out. There's no possible resolution. In the quartet, the jolly "it must be" melody crashes into a moment of indecision. The melody that was so easy to sing is harmonized by the atonal intervals of the original question that was so hard to sing. In other words, Beethoven turns "it must be" into a doubting "it must be" with a big question mark. Let's hear this moment at the end of the quartet. So, Beethoven leaves us on this cliffhanger, a hushed, suspenseful, disoriented, it must be? The unbearable lightness of being also ends with a big question mark over all the decisions that were made by the two main characters. It's kind of tragic. There's no resolution. Is this it? It must be? But then, at the end of the novel, there is something unexpected that lifts the burden of fate. A dog. In the terrible circumstances that the two main characters find themselves in, the smile of this dog, his wagging tail, is the catalyst that brings about a lightness of being that is not unbearable, but a true moment of paradise. The dog opens the secret door to happiness. In the end, happiness is not found in our great decisions, our difficult choices, our human exploits, our metaphysical weightlifting, but in something as mundane as a canine friend. It's a metaphysical woof woof. In this unexpected twist, the lightness of being, for the first time in the novel, finds its positive spin. And I think Kundera probably got this from Beethoven. At the end of Beethoven's quartet, after that unresolvable cliffhanger that you just heard, there is, well, no dog, of course, but there is a bird chirping in the first violin that reveals a feathery lightness of being. It's not so much a metaphysical woof woof as a metaphysical tweet tweet. And in this naive bird song, accompanied by the lightest of sounds, we get a glimpse of paradise. In fact, at many points in the novel, Kundera imagines this lightness of being as a bird of fortuity, a bird of chance, that is no longer earthbound by fate. This is a bird that is free from the burden of heavy decisions and can finally just be rather than must be. The novel and the quartet ends with this lightness. So, to conclude, let's hear Beethoven's unresolvable cliffhanger again, followed by that surprise answer, the chirp of an unexpected lightness of being. We decided to do a fade out so that you would have the full experience in the concert itself. So enjoy the concert and thank you very much.